1. Here you go.
Hello everyone, my name is Merrick. Welcome to Rosedale Walkers. Today we're going to be speaking to Dr. Jayaram, who works at Thangam Hospital, Palakkad. Welcome to our show, Doctor.
Welcome.
So we are doing a project on COVID-19 in a story reading session. Me and my friend Prerna over here are gonna ask you a few questions, and I hope you don't mind.
Okay, you proceed.
So the first question: how do we children keep ourselves active at home during this pandemic COVID-19?
I like to know what you are doing now these 3 months, What were you doing?
Reading books and all that, Doctor.
Reading books then?
And screen time.
Okay.
And playing with my sister, helping my mom with those.
Yes. I think this is all that you can continue, You can help your mom, you can learn what is there in the daily routine in the house. Okay, and you can read books, you can read classics, you can read novels, you can learn something, and then you can spend some time on screen with a limited time, not too much. Okay, and you can use this also for learning also. And I think your teacher and all will be arranging some classes on Zoom and all those things, And again, you can do some projects. Okay. What else you want?
Moving on to Prerna.
Thank you, Merrick. Hello, doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a few questions based on this. My first question is, why are children under 10 years of age not allowed to go out? Are they under extra risk?
They are not under extra risk, to be very frank, But it's so difficult to keep social distancing and all those things with children, and I don't think it's very easy for them to insist on all the safe practices. And it is easy for you to play around, you to touch objects, so it's very difficult to teach children to keep away from getting contracted the disease. There is no increased risk for children with coronavirus, and actually children are having it at a lesser risk if you get corona compared to adults.
Thank you, doctor. Over to Merrick.
Thank you, Prerna. So my second question is online classes good or it's bad?
It's a big question, I think, It is, I feel, there is something else other than hearing the class and learning, The one-to-one interaction is absent in online classes. Like, you are not seeing anybody, it's all virtual. So if given a chance to me, I prefer real classes than virtual classes. But in this particular situation, you have no other option and you have to go for online classes. But I think for some children, I don't know whether you may be able to understand this. For some children who like to see and all those things, it is easier to learn from virtual classes. You may be a little more interested. But to be frank, I think for children to get the feel of the school, and again to get what you call the companionship, to get the school is not all about learning in the classrooms alone. So I feel actual classes are much better than virtual classrooms, but this is a one note situation. You have no other option.
Thank you, doctor. Moving on to Prerna.
Thank you, Merrick. My next question is, why are people kept in quarantine for many days? Why not test all of them for the virus infection?
You want to know why people are kept in quarantine for many days. Okay. And then why you should not test them immediately? Is it so?
Yeah, yeah. That's
What
what
is
I'm
what is your impression about testing for coronavirus?
If we test and we'll know whether we are negative or positive, and we can go home safely.
See, the thing is that there are different problems with this. The best test is the RT-PCR. I think you might have read somewhere. And you have got RT-PCR centers, hardly 14 government outlets and 6 private outlets in the entire Kerala. Okay. Luckily, I can say you have got one center in Palakkad, that is my own clinic, Brain Diagnostics in RC Road. We are doing RT-PCR, it's approved center. Okay. But the problem is, this is a very expensive test. And the resources are less. Corona is a highly infectious disease where the chance of contracting the disease is too much. And you may have several people, and hardly you can say can test around 40 people at a time for about 4 hours, even in our machine, which is one of the advanced machines. The chance of getting a wrong result, or any test is having specificity and sensitivity are different. Every patient may not be picked up because the viral load has to be sufficient. So you do the testing, and if if not possible, you put them on quarantine. So you can do the test only after 7 days of contact, because before that you may not be able to isolate the virus in the sufficient amount to be demonstrated in a test. Just because you are coming in contact with one patient, you do the test immediately, you may not be able to get a positive result, even in RT-PCR. The other tests like TrueNat and all those things are a lot of false negative and false positive results. So no testing is 100%, and it is not a substitute for quarantine. You can do the test after 7 days of quarantine, okay? And it is so cumbersome, so expensive to do such universal testing. It is not possible. The cost of testing will be around 4,000 to 4,500 rupees. Even if you are getting it free of cost in the government setup, government is spending that much money. So government cannot afford to do test for everybody every time. And from where this money is going to come?
Thank you, doctor. Over to Merrick.
So once again, thank you, doctor, for being on our show. Our interview ends over here. So bye-bye, everyone, and bye-bye, doctor.